Did y'all see my Lasia Full Wiley block? That girl shot? She is my height. She's 5'9". I was like, if God let me jump that high, I would be unstoppable. It is! I was like, Steph Curry better use that, cause... Hey y'all, welcome back to our channel for episode 2 of Jonesin for the Dub. Today we're gonna give you some history, a little bit of background on the wages with Take It to the Clipboard, one of our fave segments, one of our new segments. We're also gonna give you the weekly W with some recaps of things that happened this past week and some things to look forward to in next week's episode. All right, for our first segment that we like to call Take It to the Clipboard, we wanted to give you a little breakdown about the WNBA history as we saw a lot of buzz, especially on Twitter, surrounding last week's WNBA draft. And a lot of people didn't know that one, the W only has 12 teams. Sadly we do, but there's expansions coming and more expansions hopefully in the future. But also some things like, when does the WNBA started? When was it founded? How long has it been here? What teams did they start with? Who are the Houston Comets? We're gonna give you all of that details right now. I do have my notes right here so I don't lead you astray. We're gonna give you nothing but straight facts. The WNBA was founded on April 24th, 1996. I am 2 months older than the WNBA, fact. The season started in June of 1997 with their very first world champs being the Houston Comets, who defeated the New York Liberty, a team we still have today, with their leading scorer being Cynthia Cooper, one of the GOATs of the game. If you don't know her, look her up. The WNBA started with 8 teams in their first summer of 1997. These teams, I'm gonna read to you from my good old handy notes: the Charlotte Sting, the Cleveland Rockers, the Houston Comets, the first world champs of the WNBA, the Los Angeles Sparks, a team we still have today, the New York Liberty, another team we still have today, the Phoenix Mercury, the Sacramento Monarchs, and the Utah Stars. Technically, we still have the Utah Stars today. They are just the team formerly known as, or actually known as today, the Las Vegas Aces, your 2-time WNBA champs. So we started off with 8 teams in the W. It was a great season all around. It was so exciting to see these women play at a professional level. But where are we now? What does that mean for now? A lot of these teams have changed their locations, have made new arenas, have changed their names. So what does it look like today? Right now, the WNBA has 12 teams, 6 in the Eastern Conference and 6 in the Western Conference. You can do math, 6 plus 6 equals 12. We're good. So the current teams in the Eastern Conference are the Atlanta Dream, the Chicago Sky, the Connecticut Sun, the Indiana Fever, the New York Liberty, and the Washington Mystics. For the Western Conference, we have the Dallas Wings, we have the Las Vegas Aces, the Los Angeles Sparks, the Minnesota Lynx, the Phoenix Mercury, and the Seattle Storm. You got it? If you don't, there's a little rewind button. You can just click back, go through it. We have a nice little graphic up for you as well. So just, learn these teams, get to know them, follow them on all their socials. That's supporting the W. And then you get to know a little bit more about their history, their current team members, how they're going with their training camps, who they're going to keep on their rosters. All that information will be on all these teams' socials. So I hope that's helpful for y'all. So I'm sure you're wondering, why only 12 teams? Girl, we want to know too. Honestly, we've been asking for years. Sadly, that's what the W could afford. However, there are expansions happening, as well as expansions that we're hoping to have in the future. For the 2025 season, you get to see 13 teams. The Golden State Warriors, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, you know them. They have purchased a WNBA team that will be playing in the Chase Center where the Warriors play for the 2025 season. It's been confirmed. Kathy Engelbert, the commissioner of the W, has announced that. She announced it last year in the 2023 draft. So that's something you get to look forward to in the Bay Area. Come on, Bay! But there's obviously more that can be done. Kathy Engelbert actually announced in this year's draft that she expects 16 teams, up to 16 teams, by the year 2028. But 2028 is 4 years from now. So some things that we can look forward to or kind of encourage if you want to push your fave celebrities. Like Asia Wilson said, Beyonce could purchase a little Texas team. We could bring back Houston. If you don't want to name it the Comets, maybe the Halos. Give us a little Angel action, some Renaissance, some Chrome. But if not, honestly, I know Serena Williams also said that she was interested in purchasing a team. Let's get all these billionaires, all these millionaires together and make some more spots. I would love to see it. I'm sure you would love to see it. But that's all we have as far as expansion right now, just the Golden State team. The mascot and the name has not been announced yet, but once we know, we'll let you know. So I bet you're wondering, what can I do to support this expansion? I'm just a mere audience member. I don't have millions, girl, me either. A couple of things that you can do are, one, watch the games. Either go see them live if they're in your city, if they're near your city, purchase tickets, even if it's for the nosebleeds, sell these games out. That will bring more revenue to the W and let them know we have fans that want to watch. Let's expand the league. Also, if you cannot watch in person, you can always watch on either cable TV or if you're streaming on your WNBA League Pass. The WNBA League Pass is a way for you to purchase for $34.99 for the year, or you can do $2.99 per game. You know, we like a budget. We love a budget queen. But if you need to, you can watch it there as well. Most of the time, if a game, for example, is playing on a network like ESPN, you're not going to be able to watch on your WNBA League Pass because it's going to be on the actual channel that is ESPN or ESPN2 or ABC. However, if you have something like Hulu Live TV, that Disney bundle, you can watch it through there, or any other way that you have it bundled with ESPN, anything that's owned by, I won't say the corporation's name, but you know who owns ESPN. But otherwise, you're gonna have to log into your cable network and make sure to stream it there just like you would for any major game. If it was a football game, if it was an NBA game, that's how you watch it through your cable, or you can go to their respective websites and they might have a way for you to watch it. If you cannot watch the games, cannot attend the games, buy the merch, buy the jerseys. The WNBA made every single player's jersey available on the Fanatic site this past weekend after the uproar of support after the draft. Make sure to go buy those jerseys. I have a couple of jerseys. If you can only afford one, that's fine. That's one jersey towards the revenue of all the WNBA players. If you can't buy a jersey, buy a cup, buy a t-shirt, buy a lanyard. It could be $3. If more of us collectively come together, they will put all of that together for these women. Another way that you can support the expansion, just make sure to generate buzz on social media. I think a lot of people underestimate the power of social media and how much it drives change, but WNBA Twitter especially is a real thing. Women's basketball Twitter is a real thing. And the more that the W, as well as all of the owners of these teams, see the buzz around these players, around people wanting to see them, how they're marketable, they'll also see that support and they'll have no choice but to move accordingly because they're actually listening to you. Social media can drive change more than we think, but those are the ways that you can support the expansion of the league without having a little millions, because girl, again, I ain't got it either, so I'm gonna do these little steps so that I can help these women the best way that I can. Now we're gonna move on to some things that have been circling around social media this past week, especially wages, salary caps, how much money these women making or not making because they deserve much more. Let's just get into it. First of all, I want to start with some definitions of things that have been thrown around on social media to make sure you understand what these things mean. Salary cap. What does it mean for the WNBA? The salary cap is the amount that every single team, so all 12 teams, can spend on all of their players on a roster. So this year's salary cap is $1,463,200 for every single team. Every single team gets that much to spend on all 12 of their players. You with me? That's not a lot. I know it feels a little disrespectful because it is. There are NBA players that sit on the bench that make more than that. And we know that. We're fighting for that. The women on the teams are fighting for that. The owners are fighting for that. So keep supporting the W so it gets better. But that's where we are right now. There are stipulations that occur with this salary cap. You can only spend so much of a max amount on rookies per se versus vets who are in the league for 3 years or more. So they have to break that down for every single season. I will say the salary cap is up 3% from last year, but there's reasons for that, and I'll go into that next. Salary caps for the WNBA are negotiated with the WNBA commissioner as well as their executive board and the WNBPA, which stands for the Women's National Basketball Players Association, the first union in professional women's sports, period. Shout out to the W for that. It's the union, which is filled with different WNBA players. They negotiate a legally binding contract that determines the salary cap for the players. The union is really good about filing any grievances for the players, giving them support after they get out of the WNBA, especially if they retire or just decide to play overseas for the rest of their days. They still give them that support, and they also make sure that their salaries are negotiated. This is negotiated in the collective bargaining agreement. The collective bargaining agreement is a legally binding contract between the WNBPA and especially the commissioner who signs this deal with them. The current collective bargaining agreement is the document that determines the salary and the salary cap for the WNBA. In that agreement, the salary cap goes up 3% every year. That's why it was up 3% from last year. So these women can make a little more money. However, $1,463,200 for 12 women, they deserve so much more than that. And they each honestly deserve $1 million of their own to be able to stay. If we're able to generate more revenue for the W, we get to give them so many things. If you want a list, I got one for you. Some of these teams don't have dedicated locker rooms because they're using shared arenas, shared practice facilities, where they don't have a safe space to just be with their teammates, practicing, or even warming up for a game. We need to be able to give them the resources. Chartered flights. Right now, WNBA players who are 6'7", 6'8", 6'9", 6'10" are taking commercial flights to their away games. Insane. They deserve chartered flights, but they need more revenue from us to be able to do that. We also can get them dedicated practice facilities, especially. Right now, the Las Vegas Aces were the very first team last year to build their own sole dedicated practice facility for their team. The first in 2023. Now the Seattle Storm have announced that they also have their own practice facility. Shout out to them. They're gonna have it ready for the 2024 season. They can practice in it right now, but we need that to be 12 teams. Lastly, we can also, of course, get them their own arenas. A couple of the teams do have their own dedicated space to play their full-time games, but not all of them do. A lot of them use their own shared spaces. They don't get to fill up the stadiums. They block off a lot of the seats. We want them to be able to open them up for these women. So continue to support the W, understand where they are right now, what they have to work with, but now you know what a salary cap is, so you know you can talk that stuff on Twitter now. Let the commissioner know you are not happy, because we're not happy. We want to see more. We want to see more support for them. All right, so that does it for our segment, Take It to the Clipboard. We would like to move on to our next segment, the Weekly W. So the Weekly W is our weekly recaps of things that might have been buzzing around the W, some news, some camps, anything that happened. And for this week's Weekly W, we want to talk about Kelsey Plum's Dawg camp. I know y'all have seen all the videos on social media. I have loved seeing all of this. This is her second inaugural class. Well, not inaugural, that means first. Second class of the Dawg class. This is in collaboration with Under Armour Basketball. And she takes the best guards, some of the top guards in the country, and she puts them through a 3-day camp at IMG Academy. That's where it occurred this year. And Kelsey's core thing for creating this whole camp was when she went to the WNBA, she felt a little unprepared for how intense and how high level this game was. All these professional women were the best players in college. And she showed up and she was like, Diana Taurasi was gonna like run me over. Like, what do you mean? I'm not ready. So she's giving back to these other guards, to these other women who are coming up by showing them some things like how it is to play with a guard in the WNBA. She literally is in this camp with them, and she plays in all of these different one-on-ones and the 5-on-5 and the stretching they did yoga with actual puppies, which is so cute. But she takes all of that in these 3 days and gives these women a better way to be able to, one, harden their skills, show what they've got, but also play against some friends who may be on different teams. So this year's Dawg class, we're gonna read them off from my handy dandy notes. I don't want to lead you astray, even though I pretty much know them all by heart, but still, we're gonna read. We have Isaiah James from NC State, Daisha Fair from Syracuse, Georgia Amore from Kentucky, formerly Virginia Tech. We have KK Arnold from UConn. We have Mylasia Full-Wiley from South Carolina, Nika Mule from UConn. We have Raven Johnson from South Carolina, Cheyenne Sellers from Maryland, Sanaya Rivers, NC State, Tanaya Latson from Florida State. We also saw Anissa Morrow as well as Deja Kelly. They weren't pictured in the day-to-day at the camp. However, we did see them in an all-class pick. I did think it was interesting that they weren't there. I hope everything's okay. I don't know if anybody else noticed it. Maybe it was just me. Y'all let me know. I could be overstepping, but I do hope they're good and that maybe they just had scheduling issues. And we also did see AZ Flood creeping in the back. You thought we didn't see you, AZ? We saw you in the corner. We love you. But that was the Dawg class for this year. So some of my favorite moments from this year's Dawg camp, definitely first moment, puppy yoga. Having the actual dogs at the Dawg camp was so cute, and to see all the players like trying to stretch but also picking them up and the puppies crawling on their chest. They literally like gave up on stretching. They were like puppies. It was just everything we need in the worst of times. Another moment that I really loved from the Dawg camp was the day 2 recap, specifically when they were all playing 5-on-5 against each other. Malaysia Full Wiley, lay with the butter. That block. Disrespectful, violation in the best way. I've never seen a guard jump that high in women's basketball, and it was so amazing to see. But also every single one of those players, to see everything they brought to the game, from like Nika mule driving to the basket, Kate Martin was also, Daisha Fair, everybody was eating each other up yet competing with each other, and it was so cool to see that level of talent all together in one room. And I also have to shout out just all around the personality of the entire camp. KK Arnold, you are a gem in this world. Seeing how much joy you brought to all the girls, bringing them together to record the TikToks, but also just every day at camp. Like when you asked them, y'all got Megan knees? Girl, I don't, but I dream. I can dream of having Megan knees. The Dawg class, 10 out of 10 for me on the social content, on everything from the girls. I hope that they enjoyed, and it was really great to see. Can't wait for next year. That's all we have for this week's Weekly W. If you had some favorite moments from this week for the W that we might have missed, let us know. We'll do better next time. Listen, this is only episode 2. We do want to give a special shout out to Paige Bueckers. She is not in the WNBA right now. However, she is the top prospect to be the #1 overall pick in next year's WNBA draft. We've seen all the love she's been getting, especially on Twitter. We also gave her a shout out. Y'all should tweet about her too. But we just wanted to also show her love here, as she is someone who brings so much to the game, not only as a player, but also as an advocate for especially Black women in this game. We love you, Paige. Y'all go ahead and generate some more buzz for her. She deserves it. But we love you, Paige. So that's all we got for you today in episode 2 of Jonesin for the Dub. Thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure you come again next week, because we'll be covering all things media, how it affects social media overall, how it affects how players are marketed. Caitlin Clark, we've got to talk about the Caitlin Clark effect. We also have some references for you on where that comes from, but definitely tune in next week. Also, make sure to watch women's basketball. You want an expansion? You want the salary cap to be raised? Watch women's basketball. And after you finish watching women's basketball, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Also, you can click the little notification bell if you want to know when we're going to post our episode. You'll be able to get that straight on your phone and click right into it. Hell, let's get into it. Watch women's basketball. Bye, y'all. Amazing. I'm so excited because, like, that was cool. Quick.
Cut it. Done and done.